What's up, you beautiful bastards? Hope you're having a fantastic Tuesday. Welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show, and let's just jump into it. And the first thing I want to talk about today is the insane firestorm around Megyn Kelly and Alex Jones. Megyn Kelly has a new show on NBC, and she has decided to interview Alex Jones. And Alex Jones is the creator of InfoWars. He hosts the Alex Jones Show, and also by many, he is considered one of the most high-profile conspiracy theorists out there. And we'll get to that part in a second. Now, the actual interview doesn't air until the 18th, but they released a preview, and it got people heated. Here's some of it.
We talked controversies and conspiracies.
9/11.
Now, 9/11 was an inside job, but when I say inside job, it means criminal elements in our government working with Saudi Arabia and others wanted to frame Iraq for it. Just a fact.
Sandy Hook.
Well, Sandy Hook's complex because I've had debates where we've devil's advocates said the whole story's true, and then I've had debates where I've said that none of it's true.
When you say parents faked their children's death, people get very angry.
Yeah, well, I know, but they don't get angry about the 500,000 dead Iraqis from the sanctions, or they don't get angry about all the illegals pouring in. No, it's not a dodge. The media never covers all the evil wars it's promoted, all the big things.
That doesn't excuse what you did and said about Newtown. You know it.
Here's the difference. I looked at all the angles of Newtown, and I made my statements long before the media even picked up on it. We didn't get any of the really important stuff.
What do you mean? We talked about all the important stuff.
Well, here's the big one they always make fun of me. You probably want to throw this in there. 30 years ago, they began creating animal-human hybrids. Isn't that the big story Megyn Kelly should be doing?
Now today we're not going to be talking about the animal-human hybrids. We're not going to be talking about 9/11. We're going to be talking about the reaction around Sandy Hook. Sandy Hook, if you don't remember, is where in 2012, 20 children were shot and killed along with 6 adults. And in those numbers, I'm not including the perpetrator of this crime because that person isn't a person to me. And this shooting and Alex Jones' relationship to it was the focal point for most of the people that were screaming at Megyn Kelly. Many people denouncing her, accusing her of normalizing Alex Jones. And it wasn't just public outrage, it was outrage from family members of the victims. Some reading, "This piece of actual garbage encourages people to call my mom's death a hoax and harass other Sandy Hook families. Shame on you, Megyn Kelly. It's been 5 years since we lost our child. While we don't speak of the harassment very often, I must tell you it has left us traumatized. I have never imagined losing a child to gun violence and being involved in something like this. By making this choice, you grieve our hearts in the memory of our child. You have a powerful platform. I encourage you to shine light on affirming the losses suffered here. Every week, 5 years later, still harassed by truthers. You do not give crazy a platform. You're better than this, NBC." One father saying, "I know that the more garbage that is out there, the more it ages over time. The more the myth becomes accepted as a disgusting historical fact that tries to dismiss the existence of my child. I mean, damn it, his life had value. He existed. He was real. How dare they?" And it goes on and on and on. Now, amid this outrage, JP Chase and Morgan has pulled their support and their advertising for Megyn's show temporarily. Megyn Kelly has been asked to step down as the host of the Promised Champion Gala. And in response to all of this, Megyn Kelly has responded, saying, "I find Alex Jones' suggestion that Sandy Hook was a hoax as personally revolting as every other rational person does. It left me and many other Americans asking the very question that prompted this interview. How does Jones, who traffics in these outrageous conspiracy theories, have the respect of the President of the United States?"
I just want to finish by saying your reputation's amazing. I will not let you down. You will be very, very impressed, I hope.
And a growing audience of millions. President Trump, by praising and citing him, appearing on his show, and giving him White House press credentials, has helped elevate Jones to the alarm of many. Our goal in sitting down with him was to shine a light, as journalists are supposed to do, on this influential figure, and yes, to discuss the considerable falsehoods he has promoted with near impunity. But that's not all. There's another person that is angry at Megyn Kelly, and that is Alex Jones himself.
And Megyn Kelly lied to me several weeks before she came here. And she said that the interview was not going to be about Sandy Hook and the mass shooting there, and it was not going to be about Pizzagate and these other issues that the media always obsesses on and misrepresents what I've said and what I've done. When I said I believe children died at Sandy Hook, as I've said for years, she kept coming back with answers saying, "You believe nobody died. You believe Anderson Cooper was involved. You believe that Robbie Parker was involved," on and on and on. I said, no. I said, my listeners questioned it. I had debates with both sides, and I played devil's advocate, saying maybe none of it happened or it was all fake, just like they lied about WMDs in Iraq and had all those fake sanctions that killed over 500,000 Iraqi children. But then I said the other side of me believes those parents I've seen on TV, and real mass shootings do happen, so it probably did happen. But that I tend to believe people did die there, that they were just using PR teams to go in to exacerbate it and hype it up to get the maximum effect, to blame the American people and to blame and gun owners for what happened.
And he also claims that he's being misrepresented in the interview and has also called for the interview not to air. And I will say, as someone that watched Jones's final statement on this, as well as what he was saying beforehand, I don't think that he's really telling the truth. He said he was debating it, looking at it from all angles, but there's video evidence, not secretly captured, but from his show that he aired.
Because with other false flags like 9/11 or Oklahoma City or the Boston bombing, at least something happened. With Sandy Hook, there's no there. You've got a bunch of people walking around a parking lot. It's pretty much what it comes down to. And none of the evidence...
No, I've had the investigators on. I've had the state police have gone public. You name it. The whole thing is a giant hoax. And the problem is, how do you deal with a total hoax? I mean, it's just... How do you even convince the public something's a total hoax? But it took me about a year with Sandy Hook to come to grips with the fact that the whole thing was fake. I mean, even I couldn't believe it. I knew they jumped on it, used the crisis, hyped it up, but then I did deep research, and my gosh, it just pretty much didn't happen. Unbelievable. Stay with us. Sandy Hook is a synthetic, completely fake, with actors, in my view, manufactured. I couldn't believe it at first. I knew they had actors there, clearly, but I thought they killed some real kids. And it just shows how bold they are that they clearly used actors.
And I mean, I don't really know what to say that he has himself not said. It really just looks like he tried to spin it. And even if his argument is I should only be judged by my final statement, no, that doesn't make any sense. And on the note where you said you're being misrepresented, you also said that you recorded the audio. So to that, I say release the audio. I've done interviews before where I've been misrepresented. I understand that, but prove it. Seems simple enough since you say you have it. That said, all of this brings us to the end of the story, which is, should the interview air? And I say personally, as long as it's not a softball interview, yes. So that's also just where I stand. I understand why there is a debate. There are people that dislike Alex Jones and what he has said and what he has done, and they say that by giving him this airtime, you are validating him. The more you see something, the more you see someone, the more you normalize it. Whereas others are arguing that we've only seen a preview. The whole point of this seems to be that Megyn Kelly wants to expose all of Alex Jones's flaws and inform an audience that will most likely be disgusted by Alex Jones and the things he has said in the past, having connections to Donald Trump. And personally, whether it be this story or anything else, I usually lean towards shining a light. I think just acting like something doesn't exist is far more damaging. But I pass the question on to you. What are your thoughts and what's your takeaway here? Let me know in those comments down below. But from that, I want to share some stuff I love today, and today in Awesome, brought to you by the Struggle, Failure, Success poster. They're currently available on DeFrancoElite.com till the end of July, so if you want to snag one, it supports the show, link to that down below. In the first bits of Awesome, we have to talk Nintendo. Just less than a week ago, I was saying, come on, Nintendo, you can't give us a full-fledged real Pokemon game and not that fighting thing, which I am also going to buy. And then, while they didn't give a ton of information, they said, yes, we are doing that for the Nintendo Switch. Then we got new looks at Super Mario Odyssey, Kirby coming to the Switch, Yoshi for the Switch, Breath of the Wild expansion, Metro Prime 4, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and the thing that I am most excited about, except for the fact that this is now going to drain my life even further, Rocket League is coming to the Nintendo Switch, because of course it is. That makes so much sense. Then in Nintendo Connected Awesome, but it was actually announced yesterday, I'm including this tentatively, Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. It looks like if the Mario universe and the Rabbids universe had non-consensual sex with XCOM. That said, XCOM doesn't technically own the genre, and taking stuff from other people and using it for your own thing, that's I guess like all art since the first original thing ever happened. And we got a good video from Life Noggin, what would happen if you never saw the sun. Then there was a very interesting TED Ed piece on why people join cults. And I guess just cause we have Planet Earth, if it was narrated by Snoop Dogg. And if you want to see the full versions of everything I just shared, the secret link of the day, anything at all, links as always are in the description down below. And then let's talk about Representative Mike Quigley of Illinois. This week he introduced his new bill, the Covfefe Act. The act, which is of course named after Donald Trump's infamous Covfefe tweet, which he totally meant to do, according to Sean Spicer.
I think the president and a small group of people know exactly what he meant.
The goal of this would be to amend the Presidential Records Act. The Presidential Records Act, which took effect in 1981, and it gives legal ownership of the president's records to the public. And because this was created in 1981, there was no reference to social media, so Quigley's argument is it should. So the Covfefe Act would amend the Presidential Records Act to include social media, so anything Donald Trump tweets, whether it be from his official account or his personal account, they and anything else he posts on social media should be documented and preserved. Quigley saying what the president says matters. He doesn't have the luxury of deciding what's his legacy. The president must be held accountable for any posts. And effectively what this would do is it would make it illegal for Donald Trump or his team to delete any of his tweets, whether it be the Covfefe one or any of the other ones that he's posted in the past. And so there are many saying that they support this. What this is updating old law. Whereas others are arguing that it's not really necessary. All they're doing here is creating a minefield for Trump. And the reason they say that is White House officials have talked and confirmed with the National Archive that they say they are saving the president's tweets, including those he's deleted. But at this point, I haven't found where they detailed the process publicly. Also, if you're wondering, yes, Quigley is also the same representative that made the Mar-a-Lago Act. The goal there would be to make a public visitor log at the White House and Trump resorts, including his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida. And while it'd be easy for me to make fun of Quigley for naming it these things because it can make him seem a little bit ridiculous, to his credit, it does seem that the naming of these are the only reason that people are really talking about it. And ultimately what I see here is with the Covfefe Act, I think it just makes sense. It's updating old law, being specific. In general, what I've always found is if you leave things open and vague, that's where you get a lot of problems. That said, once again, dear Twitter, can you please introduce an edit button within the first 60 seconds? Also, maybe don't even have a time restriction. In this day and age of fake stories going out, sometimes by accident, it would be incredibly beneficial for retractions, and it would also help stop the spread of that previously fake news. Or not, if you think that makes too much sense. And then let's talk about the 2017 UK election. Now, I had previously planned for this topic to be our first deep dive over the weekend. I was waiting for one more thing to happen or not happen, but just judging by the anger in the YouTube comments and in the subreddit from the people that are in the UK that feel like I'm just shunning them, we're going to talk about it now. So here we go. For those that don't know, in the UK, the Prime Minister, Theresa May, decided to have a snap election. Instead of waiting 3 years for 2020, which was the next scheduled general election, let's just do it now. Now, the reason for this is at that time, Theresa May looked like she had massive support in the polls. Theresa May's party, the Conservative Party, already had a majority in Parliament, but they wanted to consolidate more power. The idea being if the Conservatives get more seats, we strengthen our party and we strengthen ourselves in Brexit negotiations. But the problem for Theresa May is from the moment she announced this snap election, there was just bad thing after bad thing that happened and damaged her. And so the election came and the Conservatives actually lost seats. 13 seats to be exact. Meanwhile, the Labour Party, which is the main opposition party led by Jeremy Corbyn at this time, had a net gain of 30 seats. And of those 30 seats, 28 came from previously Conservative areas. So ultimately, this was a slap in the face to Theresa May, but it also put the UK in general in a very weird position. They had a hung parliament. And that is not to be confused with a parliament you call at 2 o'clock in the morning, even though you don't really have emotional connections, but it really gets the job done. In fact, it doesn't get the job done. Not a hung in the pans, more of a hung around your neck area. A hung parliament means that there is no political majority. Now, for the Conservatives and Theresa May to get a majority in parliament, they had to start negotiating. The problem for them is many of the other political parties just weren't interested. But then in walked the DUP, the Democratic Unionist Party, with their 10 seats. Now, this was surprising to a lot of people for different reasons. It was shocking to some because the DUP has been labeled climate change deniers, creationists, and their stance on same-sex marriage, and also just LGBT people in general. But on the other side, you had people confused at how this could work because the Conservatives and Theresa May were saying they want a hard Brexit, whereas the DUP want a softer Brexit. Once again, this isn't the deep dive video that I wanted to do over the weekend, so if you want to look into the differences between hard and soft Brexit, Google it. I'll also include links down below. It has massive implications to, yes, the UK, but also the EU in general. So how are they going to work together? Well, reports have come out that the two parties are not going to make a coalition, but rather what they call a confidence and supply deal, which is an agreement which sees the smaller party supporting the larger one in key votes. But as of recording this video, nothing's set in stone. You have Theresa May meeting the leader of the DUP, Arlene Foster. For this to work, does that mean the DUP is going to have to be okay with a harder Brexit? Is Theresa May going to have to walk it back? And I say that because on the 10th, it was reported that the DUP and the Conservatives, they came to an agreement. We're doing confidence and supply. Theresa May will be able to make a minority government. And then within 12 hours, we saw that that had not happened. But hopefully we all find out what is actually going to happen soon. Brexit negotiations are supposed to start on the 19th of this month. And as I stated earlier, how everything moves forward, I mean, this is going to have a huge and complicated impact. Heavily on the citizens of the UK, but also just the EU in general. But ultimately, we'll have to wait and see what happens. And that's actually where I'm going to end today's show. And remember, if you liked this video, you like what I do on this channel, hit that like button. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Also, if you did miss yesterday's Philip DeFranco show, you want to catch up, click or tap right there to watch that. If you want to see the newest behind the scenes vlog, click or tap right there. But that said, of course, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love yo faces, and I'll see you tomorrow.